Hey everybody, I'm Tim and today we're digging into some creamy Connecticut flavor on a budget. You're watching Cigars Daily. Get more out of this in all our videos when you join the community on Cigars Daily Plus. Like all of you, I have been watching the news, and so I'm well aware that the economy is doing great. We are all just in the best shape of our lives, and so the need for a list of good Connecticut cigars that all come in at economy prices like, I don't know, $5 to $8 a stick, probably not needed, but at the same time, why the hell not? We're all sort of looking for a bargain all the time, and today that's what I want to do. I want to dive into some premium blends that are going to give you amazing flavor at a more budgeted price, just for no particular reason. So here's the criteria for this one. These are all long filler blends, okay? So no Cuban sandwiches, no bundled stuff in this review. These are the boxed, handmade blends that you've come to love in the cigar world. These will also be relatively new releases. For the most part, I'm looking at them right now, none that I've ever talked about in a video before. So new to the industry within the last 2 or 3 years, and certainly new to the top list videos. Also, like I said, these are all between like $5 and $8 a stick, so certainly in the economy range. And all of these are Connecticut Shade cigars. So up front, I'm going to tell you this. Pretty much all of these have an Ecuador Connecticut wrapper. That is that light, like coffee with cream in it colored wrapper leaf. They grow it in Ecuador under the cloud cover of the sky. So it's grown basically in the shade. And these cigars give you that lighter, milder flavor profile that's typically smooth, can be described as creamy, and oftentimes you'll find flavor notes like cedar and almonds and vanilla and smooth, sweet, earthy notes and all kinds of good stuff, especially if you're just getting into cigars. It's the kind of flavor profile that can send your palate soaring, and so I'll ask you up front for this. If you are a lover of Connecticut cigars, drop your favorite one down below. It doesn't have to be the same bargain stuff that I'm talking about here, but it's got to be one that just absolutely sends your palate soaring. And with no further ado, let's jump right in. I want to kick this list off with a time-tested name in the world of cigars, and that is La Aroma de Cuba. Their new La Aroma de Cuba Connecticut, which came out just last year. Now, this is a time-tested brand that I think goes all the way back to pre-embargo Cuba, if I'm not mistaken. How are they just coming out with a Connecticut now? I said the same thing about the Partagas Cortado. These are companies that are not new to the cigar-making world. They're just like, oh, that's right. We just hadn't put out a Connecticut yet. They've done an outstanding job with the La Aroma de Cuba Connecticut. This cigar comes in with some amazing flavor. I'm just going to read you the flavor notes that La Aroma says that it has, because they've got a bunch of them on their website. They said the almond, cashew, cedar, coffee bean, and buttercream, which is not a note that I've ever lit up a cigar and been like, ooh, buttercream. At the same time, what you can expect from La Aroma de Cuba's Connecticut is a nice, creamy, and complex Connecticut flavor that reaches that mild to medium strength range, and it does it in the low $7 range. Which, like I said, even though the economy is doing spectacularly wonderful, that's still less than the Starbucks Frappa Crappa Matchachino thing that your wife gets every morning on the way to work. And by the way, is the reason that you're not able to afford to put as much money in the 401k. But that's okay. It's affordable. Economy's doing great. My second cigar is the one I chose to light up for this video and have been really impressed actually with the whole line from Cavalier Cigars and the Tres Delinquentes, which stands for the 3 Delinquents, a cigar that uses leaf from 4 different countries. This has got Dominican, Nicaraguan, Ecuadorian, and Honduran leaf through this blend. It's really a nice combination of leaves that to me gives a really wonderful, very smooth, and what I would call a creamy flavor profile. So if Like, if you're one of the people who comments on my videos and says, what is cream? What's that flavor note like? You can find it in Tres Delinquentes. And they do this at like the mid $7 range, which is just crazy to me because once again, even though all of us are definitely flush with cash, this is like still less than that monthly fee that your kid has to pay to get like the season pass to play the video game that was free to play when he downloaded it, but somehow is no fun unless he buys the season pass. It's less than that. And I think of all the cigars on this list, this is the only one that is not Ecuador, Connecticut wrapper leaf on it, because when El Rey del Mundo put out the El Rey del Mundo Shade, they went Honduran Puro, a Honduran cigar through and through that features leaves from different regions of Honduras. And yes, Honduras has different growing regions for cigar leaf. This thing gives that very typical Honduran leaf experience, which a lot of people talk about Nicaraguan leaf is a little bit spicier with some, power and pep and kick to the step. This is definitely more characteristically Honduran, which tends to be smoother, a little bit sweeter, a little bit earthier of a flavor. And this cigar still gives a very nice complex flavor profile in the midst of being smoother and closer to that mellow edge. And these things clock in right around $6, which is crazy. Because even though everything's just going as well as it possibly can, I still seem to go to Goodwill and find that glass vase is similar to the price that I would expect it to be when I go to Walmart. And I'm not trying to complain about Goodwill's price because certainly everything is just rolling so smoothly. I'm just saying, when did the $2 used vase suddenly become $9? This next cigar actually completes a line of cigars that Punch has been releasing over the last few years, and that is the Punch Knucklebuster Shade. You see, Punch originally released the Knucklebuster Habano, and then a Knucklebuster Maduro, and now the Shade has come out, and I'm not sure how they do this with these cigars, but the Knucklebuster Shade right here, I gotta read this off. The list of countries where the leaf in this cigar comes from is diverse. The United States, Ecuador, Mexico, Colombia, the Dominican, and Nicaragua. It's hard to know how they fit that many different countries worth of leaves into just one blend. But certainly I've said this before about the Knucklebuster line. It does seem to be sort of a love it or hate it line of cigars. Some people say that for the price, these are outstandingly good. Other people, not so much of a fan of it. So it's kind of like you got to try it to see exactly what you think of it. But one thing is for damn sure. It costs less than that monthly streaming service that used to be like $5 to $10 and now has had several price increases over the last few years. But things are going great, so I'm sure those were planned. And now we're talking about ads on top of our fees for streaming service. Sure seems like we all got rid of cable and then feel kind of like we were sold a bill of goods. And as I go on about the blend and the number of countries in the blend for some of these cigars, this next one is relatively simple, but it comes from a powerhouse cigar maker, and that is Drew Estate's Chateau Real, a Connecticut Shade cigar with Nicaraguan binders and fillers. The best accolades about this cigar is that Drew used to make this back in the day. And it's a cigar they quietly sort of got rid of. And a lot of fans of the Chateau Real were coming to Drew saying, by God, where did the Chateau Real go? So many, in fact, that Drew Estate brought this thing back sans the inflation. This thing still exists very much at around $7 a stick, depending on the size. And that somehow is a deal when you compare it with a fast food burger made of reconstituted soy gel that's been frozen several times and now costs more than a cigar made with Drew Estate's amazing leaf. And somehow, this is the only one that comes with a warning label. And truly, this list wouldn't be complete if I didn't present you with the Chillin' Moose Shady Moose, made by Foundry Cigars, another blend that uses 5 different countries in the fillers, binder, and wrapper to produce one cigar. It's a blend that gives you I don't know if it's a wildly complex flavor profile exactly, but a very quality and nicely balanced flavor. It's got some cedar in there, some almonds in there, a nice sweetness, what I would consider a good, respectable Connecticut, and especially for the price, considering that these things come in at like $4 to $5 a stick, depending on the size, which is less than it was going to cost this moose to buy the shades he's wearing on his face, even if he gets them at a gas station. And so there you have it. A list of inexplicably affordable and really great cigars, especially considering how splendidly flush with cash policymakers have led me to believe that we all are these days. It's just wonderful to be alive. And I gotta tell you, there is so much going on in the world of cigar, whether you smoke the more affordable stuff or whether your daily smoke is more of a $10 or $12 range cigar or even beyond that. So I'll encourage you, check the comments below this video and look for the other Connecticut Shade cigars that are really lighting up people's world. These cigars all come with such different little nuances to the flavor profile that each one will give you an experience all its own. And check this video out on the community on Cigars Daily Plus. Thank you all so much for watching. This is Tim signing off for Cigars Daily, and I will see you in the comments.